Hello there. What's up, everyone? How you doing? Oh, it is Thursday. I am all by my lonesome. Doug is super busy. Trevor is super busy. I'm the only lame person in DCD Collect, so I am holding down the fort by my lonesome. So figured I would talk about things that I know a lot about. What's going on, Maestro? Murph making us change our intro. Hellbolt, love you, man. Ice Wolf, what's going on? Ladies and gentlemen, world-class artist Lee Cozy is in the house. What is up? What is up? Something I know a lot about, Dynasty football and fantasy football. I figured I would do some chatting there. Give everybody an opportunity to ask any questions they have about their fantasy and or dynasty teams. I will do what I can to help out. In addition, to make things a little bit easier, I now have a tablet so that I can quick reference items and things. Some small things to add. Chef placed an order, so we will open up some stuff for Chef while we confabulate. Again, should be fun. Half PPR, doing it offline. Oh, a live one. Those are awesome, man. I started playing fantasy in the 80s, not long after it was created. And you used to have to go to the newspaper to figure out the stats of the players. And I played off and on since then. I have graduated now to Dynasty. It's all good, Lee. We love you, man. And Dynasty is where you draft once and then you keep all of your players. And then every year you just draft the rookies, usually in about a 4-round draft. And I think I'm in the third year of Dynasty that I've started. And a lot of the people that I met online through Breaking are actually in that league. Next year, I was going to do it this year, but I moved. Next year, I do plan on starting a Dynasty league. With Doug, hopefully Trevor, if he decides to like football, and then possibly be sending out invites or even giving away invites as items in breaks or just general giveaways to be in the league. It's a little too late to do it this year. The California move really messed everything up. So next year is the target for Doug willing, the DCD Collects Dynasty League. If Doug's not into it, then it'll just be the DC Dynasty League. So, Maestro, if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to help out. I have my Dynasty team is rough. Sometimes to gain wisdom and to have a better understanding, sometimes you need to make mistakes. And there were some mistakes that were made in my Dynasty League, and that's okay. I went from having a reasonable contender to having a team full of upside. I not so much hype bought, but I made some trades. Is this the year of going 2 running backs first 2 rounds? Okay. So that is the hottest question, and that is the question. I will answer you in 1 second. Let me finish my thought. So I decided to build a team based on upside. Almost my entire team is under the age of 25. Because it's a dynasty, that means I'm going to have half those guys for 5 to 10 years. No matter what team they go to, I own them. So I'm trying a bit of a different approach just for fun. It's not a super high-stakes league. So I wanted to try out building a young team and trying to hold the same roster for a long period of time. And that's kind of what I built. Now, Maestro asks the big question: is this the year of going 2 running backs in the first 2 rounds? So, is this a fantasy league or is this a dynasty league? Because you are going to approach things differently depending if it is a dynasty league or a fantasy league. Your dynasty league, you have to realize you have those players for their entire career, no matter how they go, year in, year out, they're yours permanently. Think of it as a keeper league, but you keep everybody. So fantasy, non-keeper, you would want to get the running backs early. There are very few running backs that are sole workhorses for the team. Dynasty, you don't necessarily want to go that route because you may want to grab one of the young quarterbacks like Allen or Mahomes or Herbert early. Now, I know that goes counter to what a lot of the pros tell you. They say you can find those guys in the 3rd or 4th rounds. You can't. Allen's going in the 1st. Mahomes is probably going in the 1st. What's up, Chef? I've got something with your name on it. And as soon as I addressed Maestro, we will get cracking. So I would go running back with your first because you're not going to find many running backs that are going to be bell cows. I highly recommend grabbing a quarterback in your 2nd round. Now, do you know where you pick? Do you know which overall pick you have? Have they randomed it yet? Are you picking early? How many teams are there? That also will influence the decision. What's going on, gentlemen? Built. How are you doing? Oh, what happened? What happened here? Let's figure out what happened. Let me see. Can of ravioli, Boyardee. There we go. Was odd. Don't know why that did that. All right, so you don't know yet. It is 12 teams. Now, 12 teams, that is what my dynasty is in. A 12-team league really complicates the running back and the quarterback position. Are you playing with defenses and kickers? Because my dynasty is 11 players, tight end premium, no kicker, no defense. Defense is tricky because you can't control the individual players on the defense. You have to go for overall. Defense, depending on how your commissioner has set it up, can net you a ton of points or it can net you a lot of negatives. I wouldn't concern yourself with defense till the very end unless you have a chance of getting a marquee defense like the Bills defense. You could get them fairly early. They're going to score you points almost every single time. So if you're a 12 team, if you have a really low pick, and it's a snake draft, that means you're going to have a late pick in the 2nd. If that is the case, you would want to go running back if you're picking early. And then you're going to want to swing around. What's up, GXG? How you doing? You're going to want to swing around and probably grab your quarterback in the 2nd because at the end of the 2nd round, starting running backs are gone. Period. They're not there. You're going to get a 2nd-tier, possible 3rd-tier running back, so you might as well go for an early-tier quarterback. With that said, probably 2 out of the top 3 quarterbacks will be gone, but you'll have a chance at either Mahomes, Herbert, or Allen. All 3 of those guys are going to score you points, Maestro. But if you are picking early, go running back. If you are picking late, take a look at the table. Find out how many of those bell cow running backs are going to be left. Now, somebody is going to go bonkers and pick a wide receiver in the 1st round. There's always a taco in every group. Somebody's going to pick a quarterback in the 1st round. So if you are in late, which I prefer to actually pick last, if this is a snake draft, I want to pick 12th and 13th. I'm either going to go running back if they remain, or I'm going to go quarterback, running back. Or if the top 3 running backs and the top 3 quarterbacks are taken, you may want to consider going quarterback, wide receiver, and have a nice pair up, doubling up. Now, your wide receivers are only half PPR, so you can actually hold back a little bit on your quarterback or your wide receivers as well. We will get into that a little bit more. I'll let you digest that for the moment. Chef, does this look familiar? I hope so. I highly recommend Maestro, no matter what. Whichever quarterback you end up with, get their tight end. Get their tight end, it's worth it. It's nice to be able to double up and get the wide receiver. They're the WR1. It's not always possible to get their WR1. If you can't get the clear-cut WR1, get their slot receiver, especially in Buffalo. Get McKenzie if you can get Allen. McKenzie's going to score a ton. If you get, for instance, if you get stuck with Danny Jones, no offense, Giants fans, Danny's not the lighting up the year in fantasy. But if you end up having to get Danny Jones, if you take quarterbacks late, you're going to want to grab, in a very, very, very late round flyer, Wan'Dale Robinson, I believe his name is. He's a rookie this year for the Giants. He is slating in the slot position. What's going on, Don? If you know anything about the Giants head coach is the former offensive coordinator of the Bills. And if you saw what he did with Isaiah McKenzie and with Cole Beasley, that's probably what you're going to get out of Wan'Dale Robinson. Wan'Dale Robinson. He's going to lean heavy on those. You're going to see a lot of short routes, a lot of over the middle, and then yards after carry, which are fantastic. So that is my sleeper pick, and I actually just picked him up. I gave a 2024 second round pick to have Wan'Dale Robinson just because I know he's going to slot in at slot receiver and has potential to do a lot of damage like Beasley did. So with this purchase right here, number 1 out of 25, there is only one remaining of the Ghoul Gallery. The Epic Mystery Box Interstellar SIG Series at the newly reduced price. That's truly, if you can get a good quarterback and a nice tight end, definitely grab it. Definitely grab the tight end. I agree. It is something that needs to be done. All right, Chef. Good luck, man. Let's get you cooking. All pun intended. These crispy, beautiful packs brought to you by the year 1979. They're original. I wouldn't open these. There's not a ton in there. They're worth more sealed than opened. I believe. IMO, in my opinion. Let's get to the goodies, though. Here's the goodies. That's right. Leave it sealed. Oh, that is a cell. See, look at, that is pretty cool. Koloff. The trouble with tribbles, everybody who knows classic Star Trek knows tribbles. And here is a cell from the Tribble episode. For those who go to Dave & Buster's, by the way, if you play the coin drop game for tickets, and you play the Star Trek one like I do, the Tribbles are the 1 in 50 drop. The tribbles are the ones you need to complete your set. So look into that. You're going to need it. You're going to need it. Ooh, congratulations. And you, speaking of the man in the cell, Michael Pataki. He played Korax in The Trouble with Tribbles. But wait, there's more. Congratulations! Well, hey now. Looky what you got here. Oh. Bon chance, mon ami. Let's see what you got. Oh. Oh, you got the Sealed Master Series. Yes. That's awesome. It's right behind me. Hold on. I'm going to go get it real quick. This is great. There it is. Yeah. Dude, this is awesome. So you have won a sealed box of Skybox Master Series Star Trek. All for you. How cool is that? Classic, the movies, Deep Space Nine, and Next Generation. I don't even know what's in here. What is in here? Original art compositions. Seven great subsets. 5 randomly packed dimensional Spectra cards. Odds of finding a Spectra card are 1 in 18 packs. So you're probably going to get 2. But man, keep this, dude. Oh, that's exactly what you said. He's like, nah, going on the shelf. I agree, man. This is awesome. I wouldn't open it. I'd keep it too. 1993. I was 13 when they made that. It is. I mean, it's still factory sealed, so congrats, man. That is awesome. Also, that reminds me, this needs to be said. So, we here at DCD Collects have talked a bit about this particular run. Hellbolt, that is a dang lie. This set is probably going to go away. So what we want to do is we want to give everybody an opportunity to buy it before we pull it. We are going to take these boxes and either cannibalize them for something in the future or use them for something else. So it was actually an announcement that we were going to say, and I just happened to buy one to trigger the fact that I'm supposed to say this. We are going to give until Saturday, end of show, to purchase any of the Epic Mystery Boxes Interstellar 6 series before we pull it from the shelves and do something else with it that is yet to be named or foretold. So keep that in mind. There are still a few hits in here. You were in a shipyard still building your first submarine. Ah, man. I got to tour a sub, but I didn't get to be on one. And numbered 1 out of 25, you also got the second to last Artist Spotlight by Sketch School Sean MacArthur, who we had in the studio on Saturday with his wonderful wife, Jody. Oh, Star Fox? Get out of here. How many hours were spent shooting geometric shapes all over the screen? Fox McCloud, Airwing, Star Fox, yeah. Yep. I knew by looking at it. So many polygons destroyed by me in this ship. There you go, man. Full bleed, gotta love it. 2 great boxes. And then there were one. Only one box remains. It's right here. It's number 16. Somebody go get it. Incoming from the rear, drop altitude. Don't Google that. So yeah, we are almost, this is it. This is the last box. After that, there is no more. As a matter of fact, do we know what it is? So, no, Gentleman Built. That one we did not keep track of. Moving forward, we will be keeping track of all boxes that we make that we take to cons with stickers. Kind of like we did when you saw us. We kind of figured it. I did get Sean to draw on the boxes, but only the boxes of people that bought them the day he was here. So with that said, on his birthday, Mondo got some magnificent artwork. And so did Addie. Shout out to Addie, too. Let's take a little photograph of this awesomeness. Sweet. Right, hey, listen. It's almost like you got beginner's luck back. That's how I view it. I guess if you take a long enough time, it becomes new to you again. Just imagine Burbing looking at the sealed box and going, that's 24 more breaks. Yeah, you know that guy pretty well, Lee. That is exactly how that would go. Let me just update this with the old razzle dazzle. And then we can finish talking about Maestro's soon-to-be team. Crying over that one? Yeah. Yeah, well, see, what people don't realize is those boxes and packs that were opened were actually Trevor's. that he gave / sold to DCD Collects so that we could put this together, that thing together. So those are things that he had collected on his own and saved for himself. So when they were opened, you opened a piece of his soul. What's up, Kevin? How you doing, Mr. West? Artist extraordinaire and soon-to-be featured artist, Beans Spilled, wink wink nudge nudge, for something that is going to be absolutely killer when we're done with it. That's okay, man. You're fashionably late. It's okay. You're right on time. All right, so Maestro. I'm assuming it's 11 players starting. You have the card sketched out. That was quick. It's a man on a mission. So Maestro, kickers are expendable. You're only going to get at maximum 10 points out of them usually. I would keep in mind not necessarily their kicking percentage, but how many of them are booting 50-plus yarders. Not to play favoritism, but Bass from Buffalo regularly boots him in for over 50 yards. And typically, most leagues will give you 5 points for a field goal outside of the 50-yard marker. So some of them give you a point per yard after 50, I've seen, which is crazy. Tucker is another one that's amazing. So don't worry about their percentage. Look for the guys who have more success from longer distances. That is something that when people do use their flyers, kickers for flyers, don't worry about how many field goals they made. Worry about from how far out they went. Always choose the kicker the week that is playing in Denver. The ball goes farther, lighter air, or whatever it is, thinner air. I would always waiver wire the kicker playing in Denver, whether it be Denver's kicker, which is usually always gone, or the team that is visiting Denver. That is a pro tip for you. But defenses, you may want to go later rounds and actually choose your defense. If you are in a place where you believe you've got your 2 running backs, 1 quarterback, and at least 2 wide receivers, and the matching tight end to your quarterback. So we're saying somewhere around, let's say round 10. If you feel by round 10 you have WR1, WR2, QB1, TE1, RB1, and 2, it's okay to take a defense because a good defense is going to stop you from losing points. A bad defense will cost you points up to -10. I would stay out of the AFC East unless you're taking Buffalo, because Buffalo, Miami, and the Jets, believe it or not, the Jets are in a position to put up a lot of points. Potentially. Defenses usually also give you points for their kick return teams, whether it be punt or kickoff return. It can be surprising how many points those net you. Back in the day, when you had Devin Hester and the Bears defense, not only was the Bears defense great, Devin Hester was taking one to the house every other week. One, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7. Oh, wow. Okay. So you're having 9 starters. All right. So you should be taking a defense in the 7th or 8th round if you can get one of the top 3 defenses. If not, you can wait. I would pick a defense before I'd pick a kicker. Kicker should be the last thing you pick. Defenses, depending on how your commissioner has it set up, defenses can get you a lot of points. They can also lose you a lot of points. So take a look at the rules that the point system that your commissioner has put in place and see how it's going to work. Kicker is always last round because they're expendable. There were teams, I've had teams where you didn't have to start a full roster if you wanted to start a partial roster. And sometimes I would not play a defense. Or if I had a kicker on a bye week, I wouldn't bother dropping and picking somebody up. The dynasty I'm in now, you have to play a full roster, period. You have no choice. Or else you forfeit the week. But they got rid of kickers and they got rid of defenses. So we're just playing wide receivers, tight ends, running backs, and quarterbacks. It's also a super flex league. So I have to worry about having 2 starting quarterbacks. With that said, let me show you my terrible team. Give me a moment to do that. Do. It's true, Kevin, absolutely. The kickers that have long ball can get you paid. That is a true story. All right. Sorry, I don't want you to see my login. I do. Do I have it? I do have it. There we go. I'm almost there, I promise. And yes, I did have sounds activated on most of our channels. All right, so my team, hopefully you guys can see it, is called 50 Shades of Trey. It's so lame. I changed it today. I changed the name of my team today to 50 Shades of Trey because I have Trey Lance and Trey McBride, and it's stupid, which makes it funny. My team used to be called Dirty Mike and the Boys, and if you've ever seen the other guys, you know why that's funny too. I never take a serious name. But taking a look at this hope and a prayer of a team, you can see that almost my entire team is under the age of 25, and that's by design. I wanted to do something a little different to just test it out and have fun. I'm going to have this team forever, so I can mess around and see what happens. In a super flex league, you almost have to start 2 quarterbacks. I recently acquired Trey Lance. I had Davis Mills. And I drafted this year Kenny Pickett. So I am super young. Again, Fantasy and Dynasty are going to have 2 different sets of rules. Fantasy, you would not want to be rolling with Kenny Pickett on your team. He's going to be useless for you. Dynasty, you're going to want to stash him. Eventually, he is going to take Mitch Trubisky's place. Trey Lance is an intriguing prospect because he has legs. He can move. He's one of those people that can make things happen with his legs. Not the most accurate passer, but in fantasy, you don't have to be if you've got wheels. Look at Josh Allen. He puts up numbers. Lamar Jackson puts up numbers, and it's mostly with their legs. Jalen Hurts has some of the worst downfield accuracy of any quarterback, but he has points because he's got wheels. So I'm taking Trey Lance's upside moving forward because he's 22 years old. And if he can get through this year unscathed and make it to the playoffs, Trey Lance isn't going anywhere and he becomes a steal. Davis Mills is also a question mark. He flashed brilliance at the end of the year. And they did build around him, and instead of drafting his replacement, they drafted pieces to his puzzle. Two of those pieces I have. One of them in Nico Collins, which is his WR2. And the other one is his running back, Dameon Pierce. Dameon Pierce is going to be RB1. What's up, Brent? Yeah, Brent, I am in Dynasty, so I am playing with a different set of rules here. Dameon Pierce, this trade, oh God, I feel bad about this trade. So I got Treylon Burks in the rookie draft this year. And as soon as he got drafted, it came out that he had asthma, that he was out of shape, that he was not on the same page as the quarterback. And I instantly got a headache because I basically traded the 4th overall pick for him. And I've seen nothing good about Trey Burks coming out. I was so high on Trey Burks, and now I had such a headache that I already, before the season even started, gave up on him. I drafted Brian Robinson, who was the original RB2 behind Antonio Gibson for the Washington Commanders. He started rising up the depth chart because Gibson is in the doghouse. So I took the opportunity to trade Brian Robinson, who, since the trade, has been shot in the leg and may not play for most of this season. Thankfully, the bullet wound, one went into his buttocks, like our dear friend Forrest Gump. The other one went through his knee, but in a way that it didn't damage any of the major parts of the knee, as much as a bullet cannot. So I traded Treylon Burks and Brian Robinson for Dameon Pierce and a 23 first round pick, which is probably going to be a top 5 pick. This was before Dameon Pierce's final preseason game and before Robinson got shot in the leg. So I gave away a now injured running back and an out-of-shape wide receiver who, don't get me wrong, Trey Burks could still flourish for the Titans. Don't take that away from him. I just don't want the headache. And I got the RB1 in Houston and a low 23 first rounder. So these are the types of moves that I was making to try to keep my team young. I have had Gabe Davis from the beginning. He was part of my initial draft. I grabbed Gabe Davis in the late rounds. Gabriel Davis is wide receiver number 2 in Buffalo. Gabriel Davis would be wide receiver 1 on about 50% of the teams in the NFL. There's my hot take. I'll say it again. Gabriel Davis is WR1 on 50% of the NFL teams right now if he wasn't WR2 for Buffalo. 89% of Gabriel Davis's catches last year went for a first down or a touchdown. Highest amongst any wide receiver in the NFL. Think about that statistic. Did I know he was going to be that good when I took him in the late rounds? No. Did I know eventually he had all the tools? Absolutely. Now I am fielding offers that include first round picks for him. He is going to put up at least 200 points in fantasy this year if he does not get injured. I will sign, seal, and deliver that statement. Gabe Davis puts up at least 200 points if he doesn't get injured this year for Buffalo. He is somebody that you can take as your WR2 and be confident he will produce. Period. The man is a red zone threat. He is rangy. Brent, the difference between Dynasty and Fantasy means I have these players forever. The 12 of us friends all have our teams, and we only draft rookies every year. The rest of the players are ours, and the season carries over to the next year. You will also see I have John Mechie. John Mechie actually came to me earlier today. We had to trim our rosters down to 26 players before the season began. I had mine trimmed down to 22 players because I have some waiver wire items that are waiting, and if I get them, I wanted to have room. John Mechie, unfortunately, was diagnosed with a very curable form of cancer, of leukemia to be very specific. Mechie was a standout wide receiver who is going to be a solid NFL receiver once he recovers. The person who traded him to me did not have room on the roster, and I offered them a 2024 second-round draft pick in exchange for Mechie. Mechie, being valued at around a second-round draft pick in most dynasties before the announcement of his leukemia. So I am going to stash him for this year because, A, it's a great story. Guy, right after the draft, is diagnosed with leukemia, battles back a very, very curable form, and it may take him a year or two to get back into shape. But that's one less year of tread on his tires. A wide receiver is somebody who you may lose speed, but you don't lose the skills. You're not going to suddenly not remember how to catch. It will take him a while to get up to game speed, but if he needs to take a year off to get himself right, and I'm only giving up a second-round pick in 2024, it makes it worth the risk. So he's a stash. Dawson Knox, tight end of Buffalo. He's scored in almost every game he played in the preseason. He is going to be a staple for Buffalo. You have to put Dawson Knox as a top 5 tight end in the league. That is not being a Buffalo homer. It's just going to be a fact. There's a lot of weapons in Buffalo, and one of the biggest is Dawson Knox in the end zone. He's going to look at Gabe Davis and Dawson Knox inside the 20 in the red zone, period. Diggs is going to handle everything else, the long ball and such. Over the middle, you got McKenzie. Jamison Williams went in the early second round of our draft. Jamison Williams, if he wasn't injured, would be arguably the wide receiver number 1 out of this draft. Because of the injury, he slipped. I think he went, I could probably find out when he went. I believe he is on, let's take a peek. He went 6th overall in my league. 6th overall. The Lions have had a fantastic bit of luck in players falling to them because teams ahead of them picked players that they weren't necessarily thought to be picked. Nice. Dig it, Brent. Mahomes and Chase. Very nice. Yeah, I like the Lions have a lot of young talent. Um, I dig that. I've never had a bad thing to say about the Lions. I've always liked the Lions. I'm a big Barry fan. But Williams easily could become WR1 out of this draft, bar none. So he was worth taking in the first round. Now, obviously, if you're just playing fantasy, don't bother. He's not going to be useful to you. Neither is Mechie. I don't like the Browns. I'm sorry. I've lost all respect for your Browns. Um, that's just a doo-doo situation. The way they treated Baker and the trade that they made for that guy were detrimental to the sport and the team. The amount of money they gave him really messed up a lot of contracts moving forward. If the league could have voted on that contract, they would have denied it. The Browns have lost all of my respect. No offense, Brent. I love you, buddy, but they shouldn't have done that. Yeah. Yep, I hope Baker blows the doors off of it. Yeah, I think it's Carolina he went to. I hope he does. Yeah, I am playing against, like, there are teams in my league that are absolutely lights out. Like, this team has Mahomes and Allen, Najee, Henry, Jacobs. I mean, he's got Diggs, Mooney, Galladay, Alec Pierce. There's no competing against this team right here. So that is why I am approaching. It's a full rebuild, but it's not a rebuild over the course of 1 year. I'm trying to get a very young team for this dynasty and rebuild over 2 years. The 23 and 24 seasons are going to be, or excuse me, the 22 and 23 seasons are where I am acquiring the young talent. Midway through the season, I can trade away some of the players that are worth it. And that's what I did last year. And I got picks this year, and I used those picks to take young, good, bankable talent. As the season progresses, when people are having superstars that go on their IR, and this is something that is massive for dynasty people. If, let's say, a contending team has one of their star wide receivers, running backs, or quarterbacks go down, you can trade for that IR player with one of your players that may not be the greatest player, but puts up points. You can acquire IR players for a massive discount, stash them if you're not going to win, and use them the following year. This last year, I actually got, who was the running back that got injured? Trying to think who it was. Might have been CMC. He got injured. I traded for him. It was like Mike Davis and a first. And then at the end of the year, I traded CMC for 2 firsts. That's banking. So, again, Dynasty is a different ball of wax. But definitely want to get that tight end and quarterback hookup. What else? Oh, okay. So, DCD Collects did a little shopping today. I wasn't originally going to talk about this, but we may have acquired a box or two of 2022 Panini Donruss Elite first off the line. That's going to be one of the first places you can find the players in their NFL uniforms. It doesn't come out for another week, about 9 days or so. But expect a video featuring a break with some Donruss Elite first off the line. 2 guaranteed autos. One of them guaranteed gold ink and a guaranteed gold parallel out of 10. So we may have some extra boxes available, but for the time being, we're planning on just opening them and seeing what's inside, because first off the line and Elite are a good combo. Go to Cardboard Connection, see what's inside. There's a lot of really awesome parallels this year, and we're pretty stoked about that. So Doug and I and Trevor sat on our computer staring at the Dutch auction, getting a box or two to add some content and some fun for y'all. Also, I want to take a moment to let everybody know next week, Thursday, we will not be live from the studio. You may see us live from SoFi Stadium. Trevor, Doug, and I, plus a posse of our peers, will be going to the season home opener of the Rams, because it's the Rams versus the Bills. And Doug has decided that since I'm the resident Bills fan, it's important that I go and support the Bills Mafia. So thank you, Doug. I appreciate the gift, and I look forward to watching the Bills beat the Rams at home, your home, while wearing Zubas that I'll probably tuck into my socks just for fun. So we will not be live from here Thursday, but expect us to be at some point posting on Thursday. I mean, if you've ever seen Doug, Doug is always well dressed. He's always got a button down. He's always got nice pants on. He's always well put together. Bills Mafia. Zubas is our uniform. So, yeah, expect that. It's happening next Thursday. I bought a brand new pair of Zubas for the occasion. Spanking new. Crispy. Just for this. I do like Matt Stafford. I've always liked Matt Stafford. Doug has heard me say that out loud. Stafford, I'm glad Stafford got his ring. He needed it. God bless him and his wife. His wife is an absolute trooper. God bless the Stafford family. I'll feel bad beating them for Stafford, but only briefly. Because this is our year. This is the Bills' year. Make that 2 for the Bills Mafia. Craig, I knew I liked you. He does go to the Hall of Fame now. He has the seasons. He has the yards. He has the stats. Thanks to Megatron. He absolutely gets that nod now. And he has a chance of sealing it in later years. Now, he's going to have to get past Buffalo to do that. But if he can get past Buffalo, they're the team to beat in the NFC. I believe that. I really do. They brought almost all of the pieces back, except Von Miller, who went to Buffalo, and Odell Beckham Jr., who's probably going to Buffalo. Spoilers. The Bills just freed up $10 million in their cap by negotiating with the Snowman, our left tackle. I wonder why we freed up $10 million. Sounds like a 1-year half-season rental contract for ODB, if you ask me. Just saying, wouldn't it be something, Kevin, if week 1 was the same game as the Super Bowl? I'd be down for that. But then y'all are going to have to buy all of our products so I can afford to go to the Super Bowl. So you're going to have to buy everything so that DC can go, because I can't afford to go to the Super Bowl. A Bills Super Bowl right now will single-handedly skyrocket the cost of those tickets. If you think about it, lately when the Patriots have gone, it has actually lowered the price of Super Bowl tickets. It's a fact. Go Google it. The median price of Super Bowl tickets goes down because everybody's like, oh, it's the Patriots. We've already seen that. But the Bills going to the bowl, there's a lot of wealthy people in Buffalo. I know, because I worked there. Those tickets will be hot commodities. You will see an increase over last year's ticket prices. I'm calling it. We will drive up the prices. We will mortgage our homes to go watch the Super Bowl. Heck, I might mortgage my house just to go to the Super Bowl. Chargers could be very good. The Chargers have to stay healthy. Chargers don't have the depth, but their starting lineup is phenomenal. I just think personally they lack depth. Arizona will be good. Hello, Mel. Hello, Jimmy. Yeah, Mel, we were just talking about, mortgaging the house to go to the Super Bowl. Now, if we do mortgage the house to go to the Super Bowl, obviously James is invited too. Mel, I would bring you, but you keep telling me how much you hate football. So, I'm not going to spend 10 grand on taking you to something you're going to hate. Jimmy, on the other hand, would understand and appreciate it. Just saying. You know what? I wouldn't say that, Maestro, because I think Watson and Dobbs are going to fill in very nicely. Seattle and Denver. Oh, Hellbolt, I love you, but I don't see a realm of possibility where Seattle goes to the Super Bowl, bud. I do. I love you dearly, but that team is rebuilding right now. They are. I hate to say it, but they sold their commodities. They are in a rebuild. No, Maestro, I believe that hype. I do. I don't necessarily believe the Dobbs hype, but the Christian Watson hype, I do. I believe it. Yeah. Yeah, Kevin, that's what's going to, yeah. Yeah. I agree. They moved Adams for a reason. Yeah, Houston doesn't have a chance. I planned on Houston playing a lot of games from behind. That's why I put my money on Mills and Nico Collins. Because they're going to be throwing bombs in the fourth quarter trying for comebacks, and that's good for fantasy. Keep that in mind, Maestro. By the way, if you can't get a top tier quarterback, get a mid tier that is on a bad team. Because the bad team quarterback has to throw the ball in the third and fourth quarter. Championship teams are running the ball in the fourth quarter, eating clock. Matt Stafford, perfect example. Matthew Stafford played from behind a lot in Detroit. And he put up a lot, 5,000 plus yards, because he was constantly throwing it in the third and fourth quarters. You have championship teams that have a 3,000 or 4,000 yard passer because they're taking knees and running the ball in the fourth quarter. So if you can't get the top tier quarterback that is going to put up 30 points a game, get the quarterback that's on a team that's going to be playing from behind. As long as he has one good wide receiver and a good tight end, he's going to be tossing bombs. Yeah, he wanted to play with Carr. And Green Bay knew he was still a commodity, somebody that still had value. Let me see this. Let me make a reference right here. Hold on. So they got a first and a second for Adams. Adams is what, 29? $27? Something like that. He is on and what you would consider a decline, technically, even though he's going to put up fantastic numbers. I'm not saying he's declining. But statistically speaking, he's at the age where wide receivers tend to start declining. There are exceptions to that rule. We all know them. But I digress. If you're going to get a 1 and a 2 for that player, you take it. Now, Green Bay took those picks. They took Watson with that pick, I believe. He's 29. So there you go. He's got maybe 2 to 3 years left. One of those years, maybe 2 as elite. And then that's it. So now you're drafting. There we go. All right, the 22nd overall pick was Kay Walker, the linebacker. So you got a linebacker for Adams, a 21-year-old linebacker for a 29-year-old wide receiver. And in addition, you draft his replacement, Christian Watson, who is a 22-year-old who runs a 4.36 40. So you got rid of a huge piece of the cap. You got a stud linebacker to center the once legendary Green Bay defense. And you got the potential replacement for Davante Adams. You take that deal. You lose the cap. You lose the over-the-hill wide receiver. You gain the new stud wide receiver. And you gain the new anchor to your defense. That's why you do it. The Jordan Love draft pick, I think, was because Green Bay truthfully thought, with all honesty, that Rodgers was done. And they wanted to develop him in the last year of Rodgers being there. And I think Rodgers knew more than everyone else did. I think Rodgers reminded Green Bay of who he was, and Rodgers made that pick look bad. On paper, that pick isn't bad. How old was Rodgers when they drafted him? I mean, they drafted Rodgers when they had Favre going. He sat behind Favre and watched how it was done, so the Love pick is not a bad idea. Rodgers was gone in their mind. There was no re-sign coming. Rodgers playing lights out is what made that pick look bad. Had he continued to just play at a mediocre level, now, okay, I shouldn't say mediocre level, elite level. But had he continued playing at a level that was kind of like, okay, he's great, but he's 33, that is not a bad pick. Now, in hindsight, with him being better than ever and being an MVP and signing a huge extension, it makes the Love pick bad. I would have loved Rodgers to go to any team and see what he could do. Excuse me. Let me grab a drink. I'll be right back. Yeah, Maestro, that is the biggest doo-doo. It is. They always believed they could acquire them elsewhere. The Rodgers factor is he makes everybody around him better. That's what a good quarterback does. No. It's a liqueur. I don't drink soda. A couple years ago now, I switched from soda to carbonated water. And I'll admit it. At first, the sparkling water, the flavored water, tasted awful. It took about 3 or 4 days of forcing myself to drink the whole 12-pack before I got a taste for it. It's kind of like beer. For those of you who drink beer, you remember back when you were 14 or 15 and had your first beer? DCD Collects does not approve nor condone underage drinking. But you remember how that first beer you had didn't taste very good? But after, drinking beer for a while, you started to get a taste for it? That's how sparkling water is. The flavored waters, they don't taste very good in the beginning, but once you've had enough of it, you're like, oh, now it tastes good. I lost about 15 pounds switching away from pop. That I kept off. I honestly haven't looked for Icelandic here. I've been going with flavored lately. But I do love my Icelandic. Craig, you do recall very well. Hard seltzer. I'm not a big drinker. Now, I know that's kind of funny for me to say, considering I typically have, a dram of scotch on the show. But truthfully, the show is really the only time I drink. I drink because it's fun and it's funny. But when I go out, I really don't drink. If Mel and I are celebrating, I might have a margarita. I haven't been drunk in... Mel, if you're still watching, do you remember when the last time I was actually drunk was? I don't think I can recall. No. But anyway. All right, so Maestro. Keep in mind that half PPR does make the quarterbacks worth a little bit more because they're going to have more net points than wide receivers and running backs because wide receivers are only getting a half point per catch. And your running backs, if you're looking at people like Eckler from San Diego who get a lot of receptions, they're not going to be as valuable in a half PPR in comparison to a full PPR where they're basically a wide receiver and a running back at the same time. So depending on where you are, man, really consider quarterback early in the league that you've described to me. And honestly, that's about it. So let me open up the floor to any questions about Dynasty or Fantasy. If anybody who has any opinions on players, want my rundown of players, I have taken a hard look at almost everybody in the league. I'm not exaggerating. I probably looked at 2,000 players this year. A.J. Dillon could. I personally am not touching any of the running backs from Green Bay. I had Jones, and I got rid of him last year. Yeah, they put up points, but if you have a chance of trading them for somebody that's not part of the committee, the pick I got for Jones allowed me to draft Javonte Williams. Javonte is in committee, but let's be real, Javonte's getting the bulk of the load. And Kevin, yes, that's true. The Packers, well, because all the Packers fans are part owners of the team. Oh, all these cards are bad. Let me fix that. There we go. Yeah. There we go. Maybe. He's going to continue to spread the ball around. Rodgers isn't going to throw less just because Adams isn't there. I hope Swift can stay healthy too. I had Swift. I've made some really bad trades. I admit them, and it was my really bad trades that gave me perspective in the league. Here's a perfect example. I traded away Josh Allen. I traded away Josh Allen because he overall was my biggest asset, and I didn't have much of a team other than Josh Allen. I traded Josh Allen for a 22 first, Jalen Hurts, DeAndre Swift, and a second for Allen and somebody unremarkable. And then I traded Swift for a first and another running back. I don't even remember who it was. Allen is too much of a stud. But having to make that tough trade allowed me to rebuild the roster to the young roster I have now. I'm not going to win this year because there's other teams that are just lights out good. But if I land in the middle of the pack, I can still win additional draft picks in my dynasty. And that's what I aim for. I am planning on making a run in 24. Not this year, not necessarily next year. If I can mount a run in 24, I'll be mounting runs for the next 3-4 years. Yeah, I agree. Amon-Ra is phenomenal. Hawkinson, if Hawkinson can stay healthy, yes. And you tack on Williams, yeah. And you picked up defense. And you got, didn't you also get Sewell? Didn't Sewell fall to you guys? So you have an offensive stud as well on the line. Because I remember the Bengals were supposed to take Sewell, but they chose Chase, and everyone laughed that they took Chase. Well, joke's on everybody else. Chase was the man. But that allowed, I think, Sewell to fall to Detroit. If I remember that correctly. Yeah. So again, a lot of good players falling to you guys, and I believe you got somebody in the second round too that people were like, "How did he fall out of the first?" Detroit has been very lucky, and I don't want to take anything away from the Lions, but they've been very lucky when it comes to drafts. People have fallen into their lap that shouldn't have. Anything else? Anybody else have any questions about Dynasty or Fantasy or players or any of the above? Since I don't have Trevor and Doug here, if anybody wants to buy anything, I will open today. Usually Thursdays we don't open a ton because it's typically a chat content day. But since I don't have the other guys, if you guys want to order something before I go, I'll crack it open. Otherwise, we'll just open up everything tomorrow. New items coming soon. Hockey is, I think, a month away, card-wise. We did pre-order some hockey. It's going to be about a week before we get the new Elite. We have 3 or 4 projects, including Dragons, that are almost done. There is some Star Wars coming up. I don't know if it's been announced, so I'm not going to mention it. But there are 2 really awesome Star Wars runs that we're doing coming out. One of them, I can't say, features some autographs, multiple copies of a certain person that most people really want. That's coming. Oh no, Chef, absolutely, man. Chef, when I saw it was you, I was like, I'm opening it first thing. That's why as soon as you got here, I finished my statement and then I went into opening it. So, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, because there's a lot that has to do with Star Wars. Star Wars can mean a lot of things. Just saying. It's really good, though. It's really good. One of them, super good. Kevin knows what I'm saying. Actually, Kevin kind of knows what I'm saying. Kevin doesn't know how good the autographs are. I know because we haven't showed him. So Kevin thinks he knows, but he does not know yet. Cray cray. I think it's sitting... Yeah, they're sitting in a box right over there. I could show you, but I'm lazy. I don't want to get up. You want to do something with clearly that's not a personal, something like a hit draft to see the contents for more than one box. How many Star Wars SIGs and baseball retired do we have left? Maybe, Kevin. Hey man, listen, I can't, I'm low man on this totem pole. I'll leave it at that. You already know who you deal with. There's 7 Star Wars SIG series. $11 Topps Archive retired, and almost an entire case of Clearly. I mean, Maestro, if that is true, Maestro, you do have an autographed briefcase. You do have an autographed briefcase. That's true. If you guys want to get together, if a couple of you want to get together, I know Clearly Authentic and Archives are the same price. Let me take a peek at our site. All right, so yeah, clearly authentic and retired players are the same price. If a couple of you or a bunch of you got together and wanted to do a hit draft break, I will do that right now. Why is this so low? I was wondering why it was saying I was so loud. Yeah. Lee, I bet you it was very difficult. And it was awesome. I loved it. But if you guys want to go in, since they're all equal price, the clearly authentic and the retired players, Maestro, if you and anybody else wanted to get a box or two, however many boxes you collectively buy, we could open those boxes. I could list the hits, and then based on how many spots you bought, I could random the people that are involved, and then you can draft your hits based on the random placement of your name. So if you're down, if you guys want to do that, I've got time. We can do that. It's quick and easy. I would recommend discussing it in the chat first, seeing if anybody else wants to join you, Maestro. Before you buy and get stuck just opening them for yourself. But I'm down, man. I'm down for whatever. It'll be fun. You know me. I'm a yes man. Oh, speaking of, where are my Bills fans at? I just put this bad boy on eBay. Two out of five. Rookie tag gold auto. Gabe Davis. I put it for a really high buy it now, but I took offers on it too. It's funny, so Doug got this in a box break that I broke for him at the other company. And then I bought it from Doug like 2 months later. Because I knew Gabe Davis was going to be the truth. So Maestro is in for some clearly authentic. Anybody else wants to jump in, we'll make it happen. Otherwise, Maestro's going to have to play with himself. Let's pretend that didn't happen. I have a lot of Gabe Davis autos. I have some Orange Pulsar PSA 10s too. This one is probably the most expensive. I'm dumping it for extra cash to purchase more goodies and to have a few bucks at the game. So I just listed it for a stupid high amount and taking offers on it. Yours is that was from Panini Black as well. Maestro, I don't think anybody is willing to go with you. Yeah, good luck with that, man. Ah, there you go. Chef said she'll go in on one. All right, Chef is in for one. He put his money where his mouth is. Yeah, just buy a box from the store, or buy as many boxes as you want from the store. Every box you buy is a spot. Chef's got one. You buy as many as you want. If anybody else wants to jump in, it's going to start getting interesting. Yeah, this having this tablet right here definitely makes my job a lot easier. Shout out to Doug for taking my suggestion. The cool thing about hit breaks, draft breaks, is it allows you to, you might not want the top card. You could be a Mets homer, and instead of wanting the Ohtani, you might want the Darryl Strawberry 1/1. Now, I'm not saying you would choose Darryl Strawberry over Ohtani, but I'm saying you never know. All right, Maestro is in, Chef is in. Before we open these two, is anybody else in? Last chance, if you want to buy, shout out in the chat, and I will add you to the break. Going once. Going twice. All right, give me a second. All right, good. There we go. All right, so it's Maestro and Chef. Topps 2022, clearly authentic. How this will work is I'm going to open up both of these boxes. We are going to have both of the cards sitting right in front of us. Once both of these are opened, I am going to random both of your names 7 times. Whoever's on top gets to pick first. Whoever is second gets the card that's left over. If for some reason these have a redemption in addition to a standard card, the redemption and the standard card are considered one. So if you pick the redemption, you get the adjoining card and the other person gets what remains. With that said, good luck to both of you. Here we go. All right, first up. I hope you both get bangers. I hope it's a tough decision for the person who goes first. Setting the tone. Out of 10, the rookie. Purple Parallel from Houston. Chas McCormick. Wow, off the bat, out of 10, setting the tone. I mean, that's one way to do it. Let's see what number 2 holds. Out of 99, the 1955 version, white border, silver border, I don't know what they call it. Out of 99, numbered 33 out of 99, red ink for the Cubs. It's Ryne Sandberg, the beast second baseman. Both are nice. I don't think there's any losers in this one. I mean, you guys are really, you're doing well. Just saying, you guys are doing well. Not bad. You really, you can't go wrong. I mean, you can't go wrong. There you go. All right, let's take a look to see who's choosing. 7 times, whoever's on top gets to pick first. Good luck, gents. All right, good luck. Whoever's on top after this click gets the goodies. Maestro, you pick first. Maestro, who do you select? I gotta take pictures of these too. All right, T, we just did our first draft hit break. And it's a choice between Chas McCormick's rookie out of 10 or a Ryne Sandberg 55 throwback out of 99. Maestro is thinking. Maestro is thinking. Since he hates the Astros, he's going with Rhino. Chef, you get the rookie. I am going to take a couple of photos first, because that was too dang good. I mean, what are the chances of having two fun hits like that? Right, Chef? And BT Dove, a chef, would you mind telling them whereabouts you are from without doxing yourself? I mean, I know, because we've had this conversation before. "45 minutes south of Minute Maid Stadium in Houston." So that couldn't have happened any better if we wrote it ourselves. Oh, look at you, Maestro. See that? Look at you. You the man, man. Couldn't have happened any... See, listen. This is what Doug and Trevor and I preach when we talk about the karma of collecting. You just saw it. You just saw it. That is a perfect example of the karma of collecting. On spur of a moment buy, two people decided to go in and have fun. Innocent fun. Everybody's walking away with something. Nobody's getting burned. The winner simply gets to choose. The person who comes in second gets what's left over. And it fell in a way that the second place got their homer and first place got their Hall of Famer. It doesn't get better than that. These are the moments that are so important in collecting, and what makes collectors so diehard is when things like this happens. There you go, Maestro. You looking for the Mattingly? I will mention it. I will say Maestro wants the Donnie baseball. And it is. It's if you have the right intention, if you are doing it for the right reasons, this stuff happens. This is the karma of collecting. If you're just trying to flip, you're going to get burned 9 times out of 10. But if you're collecting for the good of it, this stuff what just happens will happen. And that is why we preach it. It is the karma of collecting. Oh, thanks, Chef. That is the goal. That is the goal. That is why I'm here. All right, so with that said, does anybody else want to play? Or does anybody else have any questions about their fantasy or dynasty teams or the players to get? I am leaving the floor open to any of the above. Yeah, the camaraderie, man. I agree, Craig. You nailed it right on the head. It's the camaraderie. When you're in it for the right reasons, good things happen. All right. Questions going once. Going twice. Take care, chef. Be safe, man. Long day of making thin pancakes? Do you mean crepes? It's just a really thin pancake. Have a good night, chef. Congratulations, bud. All right, then. I mean, listen. He's like, yes, it is a crepe. It's a very thin pancake. J'adore le crêpe. J'adore crepes. All right, everybody. So, listen. Tonight might be over, but don't worry. We've always got tomorrow. Tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern, we will get into more breaks, and if you're interested, we'll knock out some more of the hit draft breaks as well. As always, I love each and every one of you. I do. It's always going to be true, no matter what. So please take care of yourselves and each other so we can do it again tomorrow and have just as much fun then as we had now. So be safe, everybody, and I will see you